Hello everybody, and as promised I am reviewing Seekers of the Weird. This is part of the Disney Kingdom series that Disney and Marvel are doing. It is a graphic novel and it's awesome. It's awesome! Now, the story behind this story is a story in and of itself. What first drew me to this is the fact that it is Disney, and I love Disney. But when I read the inside flap, that's when I knew I had to read it. Not only is this Disney, but this story is inspired by the artwork of Disney legend Rolly Crump, which were all designed to be the blueprints for a Disneyland attraction called the Museum of the Weird. All of Rolly Crump's designs and artworks were originally intended to go into the Haunted Mansion, but when Walt Disney saw them, he said that they deserved to be spotlighted in their own attraction. So he was going to set up the Museum of the Weird next to the Haunted Mansion, and he was going to carry it all over between the two attractions. Unfortunately, with the passing of Walt Disney in 1966, the Museum of the Weird was just one of several attractions that never saw the light of day. All of the designs and the artwork and the concepts that Rolly Crump had come up with have been sitting in archives for almost 50 years collecting dust. But with the joining of Marvel and Disney recently, it has suddenly opened up a whole lot of new opportunities. While the Museum of the Weird might not have ever made it to a Disneyland attraction, it has now found new life in comics. Okay, now that I've let my Disney nerd out, let's talk a little about the book. Seekers of the Weird takes place in New Orleans, which is the perfect setting for the weird and morbid artifacts and relics that are bursting from the pages, like a camera that turns people to stone, a melting candle man, and a gun that shoots ghouls instead of bullets. Maxwell and Melody Keep help their parents run a strange curio shop called Keep It Weird. But things suddenly get a little too weird for them. Their parents are kidnapped by something called the Shadow Society. The swashbuckling uncle that nobody talks about tries to come to the rescue and fails. And Max and Mel learn that the curio shop is just a front for something much larger and much stranger called the Museum of the Weird. Max and Mel have to hunt down artifacts that are on display to pay the kidnappers ransom, but it's really hard to do when half of the museum is trying to kill them. Plus, their uncle is not telling them everything. And their parents' colleagues are sending scary shadow husks after them to try and stop them. I'm completely enamored with Seekers of the Weird. The art is colorful, gorgeous, and bizarre. The story is a fun, swashbuckling ride, and it does justice to both Marvel and Disney. The characters are funny, sarcastic, and clever. Basically, this is everything I like to see in a good old adventure story. The story itself of the kids whose parents were hiding a big secret who suddenly get kidnapped and they have to go and save them, it might be familiar, but the setting and the weird world are completely captivating. Somewhere between voodoo and just plain crazy. It's unique and refreshing and impossible to put down. While the world itself is darker than your run-of-the-mill unicorns and fairies, it is still kid-friendly, so you don't have to worry about a lot of violence or language in here. It's definitely safe for kids to read. The relationship between Max and Mel is fun because they both get to test out their strengths, but they also have to exercise their weaknesses too. Most of all, they have to rely on each other because they're not really sure there's anybody else that they can trust. Seekers of the Weird is a big win in my book, from both the Marvel and the Disney perspectives. And I hope I get to see more of Max and Mel and the rest of the Keeps in the future because they are awesome. Seekers of the Weird is also touted as the first in the new Disney Kingdom series, so I cannot wait to see what else Marvel and Disney have up their sleeves. As a lifelong Disney fan and a more recent Marvel fan, this is like the perfect dream combination. A match made in heaven. I can't wait to find out what's next. Seekers of the Weird, 5 out of 5 stars. I would definitely recommend picking it up because it's just strange and weird and wonderful. Alright, I will see you next time.